They didn't bring him back. They never actually released him.
Oh.
They never filed the paperwork, and they went, you know what? We changed our mind.
Really?
We're good.
I had not heard that. Fletcher Cox is back for another year. Brandon Graham on a one-year deal as well. They just picked up Rashad Penny, who I've heard people try to say that Rashad Penny is every bit as good as Miles Sanders, and I'm not sure I agree with that. Sure, the metrics would probably tell me I'm wrong, but
What, on Rashad Penny?
yeah.
It's just different. He's a good between the tackles runner. You can't count on him to be healthy. His high side is not as good as some of these other guys. I mean, I get why people like him. I'm not as wild about him as some others are, but I get it.
Right. So New York's trying to chase down Philadelphia, but Philadelphia continuing to make moves to keep themselves at the top of the toward the top of the league, I guess. They're not at the top of the league. And the big signing of the day, again, the Cincinnati Bengals reaching a deal 4 years, $64 million with Orlando Brown to shore up their offensive line. You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. Parched Madness is upon us.
It's time. And I hope I have gotten the stream fixed because it's been a battle for the first 50 minutes.
After the Sports Center update at the top of the hour, we will do the bracket reveal of the, I don't even know, how big did the field end up being? We got way more play-in games than we planned on just because there's so many options.
Well, we have 16 playing games, so we got to 80.
That's a lot.
We got 80. There are 80 wrestlers here over the course of the next 3 days when there will be no us. There will be reels and things like that where you can have your voice heard on every one of these matchups individually.
We will reveal the bracket coming up after the Sports Center update. After the break, though, time for Jeremy's Bangers of the Night.
It's time to discover the convenience and time savings of contact-free pickup with Ingles Curbside. Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup. They'll even text you with updates. You pull up to a designated space and your personal shopper delivers your items right to your vehicle. Fresh, fast, and affordable. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
When emergencies strike, firefighters are there to stand strong and answer the call. Start or continue a high-octane and rewarding career with the Hendersonville Fire Department. HFD offers competitive pay, fantastic benefits, and the foundation for a meaningful work-life balance. If you value integrity, service to your community, and working with a professional team, apply today. Now hiring full-time and part-time Hendersonville firefighter EMT positions. Unlock your best life at www.hvlnc.gov/jobs. Live here, serve here.
Did you hear about Taco Bell's apology? Yeah, they apologized for going too far with their breakfast. Like the naked egg taco and chicken biscuit nachos? It was too much. All you need in the morning is tasty, simple food. Like the breakfast crunch wrap. Fluffy eggs, melty cheese, sausage, crispy hash browns, wrapped in a warm tortilla. Or, as some call it, a breakfast crunch thing. Grab one today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only until 11 a.m. while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation, which vary.
Hi, I'm Michelle Obama, and in my new Audible original podcast, I'll be talking with some very special guests about issues that affect all of us, like overcoming self-doubt, building support systems, and being there for others. It's all about kindling the flame inside of you so that we can meet the challenges life throws our way and steady ourselves in uncertain times. I hope you'll get as much insight from these conversations as I did. Listen to the Light Podcast on Audible.
The Big South champion UNC Asheville Bulldogs are dancing all the way to Sacramento to take on UCLA in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Brian Hall and Mike Gore will be courtside Thursday night starting at 9:30. This special tournament broadcast is brought to you by our title sponsor, Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. And also by Firehouse Subs, now hiring for Weaverville, Patton Avenue, Tunnel Road, Airport Road, and Cherokee locations. Allen's Jewelry and Pawn, Patton Avenue, Tunnel Road, and Cherokee. And Air Vent Exteriors. Expand your outdoor living space.
Coffee store closes on. Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power. That watch costs more than your car. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Our final bracket of the tournament is one of the weirdest, the East. This week, we've gone region by region, and we've given you our favorite upset in every bracket, a Cinderella, and our pick to make it to the Final Four to win you all the money in your office pools. This is Greene on Greene, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. I've already told you my favorite underdogs in this bracket were Louisiana and Oral Roberts. But looking forward at what I find to be a vulnerable one seed that only has Zach Edey and everything runs around him. If you find a way to get him in foul trouble, they are super vulnerable. The 6 seed Kentucky, a lot of people are on them. I like Providence to beat them in the first round. Providence is a better team. They were horribly underseeded. And if they can get by Kentucky, there's no reason that they couldn't get into the Sweet 16 and make noise. I think they're one of the 16 best teams in the country. Another matchup to watch is whoever wins the late Friday night game, Memphis and Florida Atlantic. I think both of these teams are playing elite basketball. Florida Atlantic did it in a much smaller conference. Memphis really came on strong late. With how vulnerable Purdue is, these are two teams they really did not want to see. At the end of the day, the East is the weakest bracket in all of the tournament, and anything could happen. You could see a double-digit seed playing into the second weekend. You could see a deep seed win this region, and it wouldn't shock me. For more, follow us on all the social medias at The Sportsocracy. And as always, Greene on Greene is brought to you by Ingles Markets. Love the savings with Ingles. Love the winnings with me. Mull it out.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
It was good to see the 60s back today. A little break from the cold here for tonight. 46 degrees our low, and that's actually above average. Rain showers Friday, 60 degrees, and another cold shot comes to Asheville this weekend. Highs in the 40s. Sorry to say, lows back down in the low 20s Saturday night, Sunday night. So 3 nights again, deep freeze this weekend, early next week. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. You're keeping up with updated traffic and weather, but are you doing the same when it comes to COVID-19? Sign up now for reliable info on COVID-19 and a vaccine option, resources, and more at PfizerCovid19.com. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito is now at Taco Bell. 2 servings of grilled marinated steak and a melty 3-cheese layer inside, plus grilled bubbly cheese on the outside. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Hi, I'm Chad Greenway. After retiring from the NFL, I've embraced my new role coaching my kids in their youth sports. Our Youth Basketball Association made the decision to use trusted coaches to train, screen, and educate all of our basketball coaches. Visit trustedcoaches.org to learn more. I'm a trusted coach. Are you?
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeartRadio.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. So, are you taking a sick day today? Your secret's safe with us. The first full day of March Madness. We've already had a buzzer beater today, and it came from a double-digit seed. Furman, a 13 seed, beats Virginia on a J.P. Pegues 3 with 2 seconds to go, 68-67. Other finals, Missouri beats Utah State 76-65. Maryland comes back and beats West Virginia 67-65. Three 3 of the 4 number 1 seeds in this tournament have never won the title, including Alabama. ESPN's King McClure believes if the Tide can tune out the distractions, they could win it.
They have every single thing that you need in order to be successful. I mean, they have an NBA top 3 draft pick. They have 2 great guards in Sears and Quinterly who can erupt for 20-plus any night.
King McClure on Fitz and Harry. Iona coach Rick Pitino says he'd like to coach for another 10 years.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Oh, is that loud enough for you? Let me turn it up just a little bit.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I've learned is that it's fun having internet issues because you can never quite tell what the actual problem is. So it's hey, did that fix it?
Yeah.
No. Did that fix it? No. And I pooped on myself. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, we apologize.
Yep.
That scared us as bad as it did you.
It did. This is the Sportsocracy. It is ESPN Asheville 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. We come to you live from the Ingles Studio here on a March Madness Thursday. It's the open of the NCAA basketball tournament, and at the moment, Charleston with a lead on San Diego State, just a 2-point lead right now. A little bit of a run here for San Diego State, but Charleston has led since the tip, and this was my Sweet 16 bracket buster pick. I had Furman and Charleston both go into the next round to face each other. And then you have one of the double-digit seeds going on to the next round. I chose Furman. Jeremy chose Charleston. We shall see how this all goes. We'll keep you up to date on the basketball action throughout the program here on this Thursday edition of the Sportsocracy. But it is time not just for March Madness, but for Parched Madness.
We are always parched because we are
because you're thirsty.
I've heard we are thirsty. You're pushing my buttons today, you know that?
Well, it's your birthday. I have to. We all have to give a big happy birthday to Flostradamus. Turned a ripe old age of 36 today, and he says he's not feeling it yet. But I feel like you have your old man days.
Everybody says this every single year. Since I turned 30, they're like, oh, this is the year. 30 was when it got me. Didn't get me. 31, 32. How many years do we have to keep doing this before you just realize, A, I'm not that physically active. 2, I'm gonna drink as long as I can. So I go harder than most. I'm going to be a tough old bird to kill.
We will be celebrating Jeremy's birthday tomorrow with all of the college basketball action at the Village Porch, 41 North Merriman. 41 North Merriman Avenue?
Yes.
Okay. Up in the Reynolds Village. It's not that hard to find. It's like adjacent to the YMCA up there in Woodfin. We'll be hanging out at the Village Porch watching basketball tomorrow afternoon. We will not be
North
here.
Merriman. I knew that sounded wrong.
Yeah, I knew it did too. That's why I said it 3 times. But there again, I hadn't done that promo since the football season ended, so it's been a few weeks. So anyway, we'll continue to keep you up to date on all of the basketball action here. We got Alabama, obviously, smoking Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 48-27. 2 minutes to go in the first half. It's a 2-point game. Charleston on top of San Diego State, 24-22. 5 minutes to go before halftime. 2 more are in the books. Kansas blew out Howard, as we knew they would. It was awesome. It was a 36-36 game more than halfway through the first half. And then it was all Kansas from there, 96-68 the final score. And number 7 seed Missouri in the South region takes down the 10th seeded Utah State 76-65.
Show of hands, whose bracket's still perfect?
Nope.
This guy.
Nope, not me.
Forno, let's go!
Not me. I had Utah State and West Virginia advancing to the next round.
Well, you should have listened to me about the fighting Dennis Gates.
And maybe we should have.
Would have been undefeated like me.
Maybe should have. Parched Madness, though, that is the name of the game here for the next hour, as we will reveal our greatest of all-time professional wrestlers bracket.
And before we do that, we have a couple super chats to get to. I apologize it took some extra time. We've been dealing with stream things.
Yep.
This is a long way I've said we need a producer. If you are in need of a job, I'm not a hard man to find. And this is not necessarily a hard job. It's just I need a third set of hands in here.
I'm your huckleberry.
Soaring Eagle said, and call me insane for having Charleston beat Alabama in the Sweet 16, make it to the Elite 8. That is a bold strategy, and we're a big fan of those around here. And then Frankie Cleary.
I'm your huckleberry.
With the happy birthday to me.
Yes.
Soaring Eagle with the first one, Frankie Cleary with the second one. Thank you all for the birthday wishes. You do know how to make an old crotchety individual feel warm and fuzzy.
And if you're not in with us on the YouTube stream, go to the YouTube page, youtube.com/thesportsocracy, or go to thesportsocracy.com. Click the live video link in the middle of the page. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can join the chat that way. You can also super chat. You can join the House of Reprehensibles, all of that. And over the coming weeks, we are going to be narrowing down who is the greatest of all time professional wrestler. This is our Parched Madness tournament this year. We've done the overrated bands bracket. We've done movies. And this year, it's greatest professional wrestlers of all time.
And we must thank Kevin Vick for this idea. Because, see, here's what happens when you nominate things like this. We start talking about them.
Uh-huh.
And if the argument doesn't last real long, we go, well, we can't do that because it'll burn out quickly.
Mm-hmm.
This one led us to argue for an hour. And we went, yep, that's the one. That's the one that we should be doing.
All right, so let's start with the bracket reveal here. We'll start with the Bobby the Brain Heenan bracket.
So we named the brackets after the 4 greatest commentators of all time.
Yeah.
Names on the door.
Asterisk.
Don't you fight with me. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
So the first one, named after one of the greatest commentators, one of the greatest heels, and one of the greatest managers of all time in professional wrestling, Bobby the Brain Heenan, leading off the Bobby the Brain Heenan bracket. It is the number 1 seed. Woo! The Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And in the first round, he will face off against the winner of one of our 16 playoff matchups. Look.
So we did a bunch of playing games, all right, because we took all of your recommendations off Facebook, and there were a bajillion of them.
Mm-hmm.
Some of you did not get every person that you said in. If I had to Google who they were, it was probably a good indicator that person was not going to get in. There are a few of those.
Right.
But the Nature Boy Ric Flair seems to be the overwhelming favorite heading into this thing.
Absolutely. If I was Vegas and I had to put a line on it, I would probably put Flair at, what, plus 150?
I think you might even be low.
Really?
Honestly. I really do. I think you might even be low. Ric Flair seems to be the unbelievable favorite, the prohibitive favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So we did what we do, and we try to throw some roadblocks in the way of that prohibitive favorite.
So the number 1 seed is Ric Flair in the Bobby the Brain Heenan bracket. He will face off against the winner of the first play-in matchup here. The 16 seeds. It's a shame to me one of these guys is a 16 seed, but Arn Anderson against the 1-2-3 kid / X-Pac / Sean Waltman / whatever other name he's had.
Look, I'm going to be really honest with you. If Arn Anderson doesn't win this, I reserve the right to call just a slew of people wrong.
There's no reason that he shouldn't win this. You know, I liked X-Pac. I thought he was, was he a superstar? Was he a world champion? No. I mean, he was a cruiserweight guy, tag team guy. He was just an ancillary piece. Arn Anderson, while some may look back and think he's just an ancillary piece to the Four Horsemen, no, sir, there's a reason that they called him the Enforcer. Arn Anderson was, I mean, if it hadn't been for Ric Flair, and had Ric Flair not been Ric Flair, Arn Anderson could have been Ric Flair.
But there was that, and he wasn't. And Arn, who I fully believe is going to beat X-Pac, will be the first impediment to the Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Which is only the way that it should be.
It's as fitting as it could possibly be. That Arn Anderson will be overshadowed by Ric Flair as he was his entire career.
The number 2 seed in the Bobby the Brain Heenan bracket is Andre the Giant.
And Tank hated this one.
I didn't hate
Tank
it.
is the anti-Vince McMahon. He hates big guys. Every single one of them I've said he rolled his eyes. And he goes, he does a real good job being big.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of guys like that in professional wrestling. So, sue me. I mean, Andre was great. He was great at a time where many of us never got to see him at his finest, because by the time he hit WWE WrestleMania, he was, I mean, that was the last legs of his long career. I mean, Andre has a great story. And everybody, you have to love Andre. He's one of the biggest names in professional wrestling. He traveled from circuit to circuit, basically just as a hired gun. You needed attendance to pop for a few weeks, you bring in Andre the Giant. You're going to pay him a bunch of money, but he could save your numbers at the gate. Andre will be facing off against the winner of the 15 seed play-in, Lex Luger and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. So you've got basically Captain America
against Captain America.
Well, Lex did have that
Oh,
Mr. America thing going on.
He
for
had
a
the
while.
American flag tights and all the things.
Yeah, I more think of him as the narcissist, Lex Luger, the total package. And I kind of forget that one little window where he had as the WWE champion right before he went, oh, I'm not under contract? Yeah, I'm going to WCW.
So here's the thing. When I think of the total package, I think of myself. Let's go.
Hacksaw he was just a gritty guy. He was a gritty guy. You loved you loved the character. Just not sure where to place his ring skills and his mic skills and all of that. It was all kind of okay, but he was a big fan favorite. The number 3 seed is Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah, snap into a Slim Jim.
I struggled with this one because I really wanted Macho Man to be a 2 seed in this tournament, but there were just too many options. Too many options at the top. So Macho Man, a very close to a 2 seed. He's the 3 seed in this bracket, and he will face off against the winner of the 14 seed play-in game, Dean Malenko, who was one of my automatic qualifiers from yesterday's daily draft, going up against the Junkyard Dog.
Which is my dark horse. I think he will give Macho much more of a run for his money than people think.
Not a shot.
Oh, he's so awesome.
I mean, he was good. He was
Junkyard
good.
Dog.
He was fine. Did you ever see him wrestle?
No, because he had retired before I was born.
I was just curious if you had ever seen him
he was
wrestle.
awesome.
He was great. He was great, and he was one of the first African-American wrestlers to be highlighted as the headliner in his region, selling out the Louisiana, the Louisiana complex or whatever. They weren't having things in the Superdome back then, because I don't even think the Superdome existed. No, it did. But anyway, he was one of the first African-American headliners in professional wrestling. He never got the push as a champion.
Hey, but he was supposed to. They audibled it the night he was supposed to win the title. They audibled it at the last minute.
He was a great regional
he never
champion,
got another shot.
And he sold really well.
He did.
He sold really well.
I think he's going to give Macho Man much more of a run than you do.
He was on the he was one of the cartoon members of the WWE Superstars cartoon back in the day. The number 4 seed, Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, Mankind.
All of the things.
All of the 3 faces of Foley. You know, he was pretty good. He was a pretty good technical wrestler way back in the day, but he kind of transformed over time with getting all of the, the hardcore stuff, the Cactus Jack thing, ECW, going over to Japan and getting in the barbed wire battles with Terry Funk and all of that. I mean, that guy is just an absolute dog.
I'm gonna call my shot now. All right, I called my shot with Furman in the NCAA tournament. I'm calling my shot with Mick Foley here. He's going to knock out Ric Flair. Remember I said that. He's going to knock out Ric Flair, and I will tell you why. Because the people that love that kind of guy, the guy that just put it out on the line, they show up in internet things aggressively.
Mm-hmm. All of the top 4 seeds, by the way, all top 4 seeds in every bracket will face a play-in contender.
Yes.
So this is the last play-in.
This is how we got in as
bracket.
many of your contenders as we could.
Yes.
We call ourselves the Sportsocracy because it's the Democratic Republic of Sports.
Right.
So if a bunch of you said a name, we shoehorned them in there whether we had ever seen them or not.
Mick Foley will take on the winner of the 13-seed matchup, the play-in between Diamond Dallas Page.
The loud, mulleted diamond cutter. Bang!
And the cross-faced chicken wing himself, Bob Backlund.
Who I could genuinely not tell you anything he ever did except lose the title to Kevin Nash in 8 seconds. That's the only thing I ever know that he did.
Yes, he did. He held that was the second time he ever won the WWE title. He won it from Bret Hart, and then 3 days later at a house show, lost it to Diesel, a.k.a. Kevin Nash. Most interesting fact about Bob Backlund to me, he has the second longest title reign in WWE history.
To Hulk Hogan?
Nope. Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, I was going to say, is it Roman Reigns? Because most people that we talked about this with said he's had it for like 9 years now.
Bob Backlund famously held the WWE title for 2,135 days from a stretch from 1978 to 1983. He had 876 successful defenses of the title during that stretch. Bruno Sammartino was at 2,800 plus days with his title reign. But Bob Backlund, that's the most interesting fact about him.
And we'll get to Bruno Sammartino soon enough.
That's right. Diamond Dallas Page, on the other hand, best thing about him was probably his wife, Kimberly. You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Heavy traffic volume 26 westbound between Fanning Bridge Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway, 26 eastbound stop and go between the French Broad River and Airport Road. Haywood County 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. In North Asheville, Merriman Avenue north and southbound approaching Edgewood Road, traffic is stop and go. Boulevard Road north and southbound stop and go between Long Shoals Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Hendersonville Road southbound busy between Biltmore Forest and Overlook Road. Hendersonville Road northbound approaching Mills Gap Road is stop and go. Sweeten Creek Road southbound stop and go between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. Sweeten Creek Road northbound approaching Mills Gap Road slow. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Reset your rest at Mattress Firm's Big Spring Sale. Shop top brands today and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select purchases. Time to score big savings on your dream bed.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
All the radio stations you love, every playlist to match your mood, the podcasts that everyone's talking about. If it's on the iHeartRadio app, it's free. Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
iHeartRadio! It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity during tax season because so much sensitive info is all together.
Before we start the annual meeting of Sean's personal info, has anyone seen Social Security number?
Not me.
Nope.
Nuh-uh.
Oh no, he's been stolen.
LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can monitor all transactions, but you can save up to 25% off your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Our communities are filled with wonderful people who make living here great. At Home Trust Bank, we're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to help make a house your home. When it's time to buy, visit your local Home Trust branch or go to htb.com/mortgage.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
It's time to discover the convenience and time savings of contact-free pickup with Ingles Curbside. Just visit shop.ingles-markets.com or download the app. And your Ingles personal shopper gets to work with specialized training on how to select the freshest items for a pre-scheduled pickup. They'll even text you with updates. You pull up to a designated space and your personal shopper delivers your items right to your vehicle. Fresh, fast, and affordable. It's all in the bag. Ingles. Low prices. Love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man!
We are back in the Ingles studio on ESPN Asheville, the Parched Madness greatest of all time professional wrestlers bracket reveal. Welcome in. And we are rolling through the Bobby the Brain Heenan bracket. Number 1 seed Ric Flair. Number 2, Andre the Giant, Macho Man, and Mick Foley were the top 4.
And now we get into the matchups that are actually already decided.
Indeed. So we've got the 5-12 matchup. Always look for an upset in the 5-12s, right? Well, you got the Ultimate Warrior at number 5, and the 12 seed is Sergeant Slaughter.
Old Sergeant Slobber himself. I have a funny feeling. There have been so many loyal wrestling fans that have chimed in here. I can't see how the Ultimate Warrior beats Sergeant Slaughter. I can physically not figure out how it's going to happen because the loyalist wrestling fan hates the Ultimate Warrior because he couldn't wrestle. He was awful. Mm-hmm. He would just show up and be yoked with a painted face and cool.
The intensity was just off the charts with this guy. Now, cocaine probably had a lot to do with that.
No doubt.
Well, not probably. It did. It had a lot to do with that. But I mean, this is a guy who couldn't do really anything except for power moves.
Yes.
And he was really good at those. He was fast, he was agile, and he was just built, stacked. Going up against Sergeant Slaughter, who I don't think was ever really in shape.
No, he always kind of looked like me.
But he was
much less hair.
Right, but he was the submission guy. Like I never really got it with Sergeant Slaughter.
It was a lot of the gimmick.
To me, it's Ultimate Warrior hands down. The number 6 seed was Bill Goldberg. I know some people be upset with that seeding, but I tried to get him seated much lower than this.
Yeah, Tank was really the anti-Bill Goldberg.
He was terrible. He was absolutely terrible. I mean, he was a fan favorite, and he had the great winning streak and all of that, but this guy could not wrestle to save his life, and he put guys in danger every time he was in the ring.
That's another one that and I'll be honest with you, we seated him with Mr. Perfect, who was such a good technical
And to
wrestler.
me, this ain't even close.
Yeah, to you.
To me, this isn't even close.
It's
Mr.
not close.
Perfect should mop the floor with Goldberg. He was way better on the mic. He was way better in the ring. He was Mr. Perfect. He had it all.
He also once threw himself a 100-yard touchdown pass, which is why I will be on the side of one Bill Goldberg.
The 7-10 matchup, the Bobby the Brain Heenan bracket, Rey Mysterio Jr. and Terry Funk. This is one of the best matchups to me, one of the hardest matchups of this entire tournament so far.
It was a difficult one, and we tried to do a lot of that. People asked us why did we not section this off into the WCW guys, because that's not nearly as fun.
No.
I actually watched them fight. So you get some matchups as you go that you never could have seen because these guys weren't active at the same time.
Right.
And like this one.
Yeah. Rey Mysterio, phenomenal as a high flyer. He, of course, came up in WCW's cruiserweight division. That's where he caught on and became a big star. And then they pushed him to the championship level, which I always thought was comical. Rey Mysterio and the feud that he had with the Big Show. Yeah, it's got to be scripted for a guy like Rey Mysterio to beat the Big Show.
The ironic part of this is it's never been more likely that you could see these two fight each other than it is right now because they're both still wrestling.
Is Terry still doing it?
To the last I checked, yes.
Oh, my. Terry, again, one of those, he's one of the kings of hardcore and one of my all-time personal favorites, but Rey Mysterio was just a thing of legend. The 8-9 matchup, these are two legends in the same matchup here. Number 8 seed, Bruno Sammartino. Yes, he is the longest reigning WWE champion of all time, but I could also make the argument that the only competition that he had at the end of his career there was Bob Backlund. So that might tell you everything you need to know. Going up against Harley Race, who was one of the greatest villains of all time. All the greatest villains that you grew up watching, they all credit Harley Race.
Correct.
With making them who they were. And, of course, he was a great manager at the after his wrestling days were over.
And that is the Bobby the Brain Heenan bracket, which leads us to the Jim Ross bracket.
Yes, the JR bracket. Number 1 seed, The Rock.
Which he had to be.
He's one of the greatest entertainers of all time.
I always hated The Rock. I did.
Why?
I always hated The Rock.
I mean, I hated him when he became a face.
I could listen to him talk all day. The problem is that I really did not greatly enjoy.
He was one of those that I really loved him when they were trying to bring him up as the heel, and then the fans caught on, and he was so good on the mic, he was so electrifying that they had to make him a face. I wasn't too happy about that. But he will face off against the 16-seed play-in winner of Bam Bam Bigelow against Yokozuna.
This is another one of those that Tank's he doesn't even want to talk about because he hates big guys.
They were really good at being big. Not
that,
really
to
sure.
me, is one of the most interesting matchups of the first round because I loved them both.
Did you?
I did. Bam Bam especially. Big, vulgar, tattooed guy that was super athletic.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I believe that's the side I'm leaning to.
Yeah, the Beast from the East was really good, and Yokozuna was unlike anything we had ever seen before. He was the mountain of a man that nobody could take down. And then, when you had guys finally body slamming him and stuff, it didn't last a whole lot, a really long time. But he was a WWE champion. So Bam Bam Bigelow against Yokozuna in the 16-seed play-in game. Number 2 seed in this bracket, the Jim Ross bracket, Shawn Michaels. And he'll be taking on the winner of the Jacks in the 15-seed game.
And you'll be able to tell when Tank seeded things because it's a lot of cutesy alliteration things like this. Blackjack Mulligan against New Jack.
Yep. This isn't close. This is not close. It should be Blackjack Mulligan. Because
it's
New Jack.
I'm glad you said that because I thought you were headed a completely different.
No. I said this yesterday in the daily draft. Like, I wanted New Jack to be in this because he was the king of hardcore. He would do the things that nobody else would do in ECW, but he was not a wrestler. He was just there for the shock value.
Yes.
Blackjack Mulligan was the dude at one point in professional wrestling and is a big fan favorite, or is a big favorite of fans that are older than us. I mean, my dad was a huge Blackjack Mulligan fan. So this is a tip of the cap to him and all those of his generation as they will face off in a 15-seed play-in game. The number 3 seed, John Cena.
You can't see me.
No. He will face off against the 14-seed play-in contenders, Scott Steiner and Kenny Omega.
Let me go ahead and tell you how this is going to go, and I'll practically anything you want. Kenny Omega beats Scott Steiner and then beats John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Because the new era wrestling fan will go, how is he at 14? He's been the greatest wrestler. Yeah, we didn't see him in Japan. Sorry.
Right.
I mean, I knew who he was loosely, And then he shows up in AEW and you go, hey, that guy's pretty good. I'd never seen it before. I'd heard about it.
Right.
But I feel almost 100% sure that's how that's going to go.
I would agree. I mean, Scott Steiner, to me, his best years were as a part of the Steiner brothers with Rick in the tag team days in WCW. But then
because then he became big, and you hate big guys.
No.
You lost a person, and now you hate big people.
No, I hate it when he turned into the poster child for steroids.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That was the thing. Like, he was good. He was good enough before. The physique was fine before. And then he went full Big Papa Pump, and his biceps turned into what looked like skin draped over Pepsi cans.
Yes, he was the Barry Bonds of professional wrestling, where you went, that guy, just body type wise, looks exponentially different than he did 5 years ago.
Also,
I'm sure it's Cliff Bars and Diet Colas.
Also, he doesn't math too well. So, Kenny Omega, he's my favorite in this one as well. While he is a new era wrestler, somebody said it earlier in the chat, I always denigrate the new era. No, it's clear there was a time of the ultimate popularity of professional wrestling, and this current era of it ain't it. That's my only thing. Kenny Omega is a really good wrestler. He's decent on the mic. He's really good in the ring. He's really good in the ring. So, the number 4 seed, Roman Reigns.
This is where we will get more obscenities than we have ever had hurled at us. And that's coming from me, who gets told to make love to myself on a regular basis. And so, the fact that Roman Reigns is a 4.
And not higher?
No. And the fact that he's this high, really? That is the most hated individual in the history of professional wrestling. And I don't think it's all that close. It's just because people are tired of him. I don't watch it now, so it's really easy for me to go, yeah, he belongs here. He's been a champion for 40, whatever. I don't have an emotional attachment now. So it's really easy for me to go, yeah, he should be here. And he will take on 2 big dudes.
Yes.
The worst interview in the history of our show, Big Van Vader and Mark Henry, the world's strongest man.
That's right. The 13 seed matchup. It pits the world's strongest man, the Mr. Olympia or whatever the contest was that he won, to get the world's strongest man moniker. He was an Olympic power lifter that turned into a WWE superstar. And then Big Van Vader, who is the greatest of all time super heavyweight. I don't think that's really debatable.
I think there's more in that discussion than you want to put in. I also can't get over the fact you asked him no less than 17 questions, and I'm not sure he said 17 words.
He didn't. It was not a good day for him.
Yes.
And this was, it was an honor for me because, I mean, Big Van Vader was my childhood hero. And it was not a great interview, but things happen when you get older. You lose a little step in your mental faculties, and God rest his soul. That's all we can say. Big Van Vader and Mark Henry, the last of the play-ins in the Jim Ross bracket. We will take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with this bracket and the matchups. Who's the 5 seed next?
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
It was good to see the 60s back today. A little break from the cold here for tonight. 46 degrees our low, and that's actually above average. Rain showers Friday, 60 degrees, and another cold shot comes to Asheville this weekend. Highs in the 40s. Sorry to say, lows back down in the low 20s Saturday night, Sunday night. So 3 nights again, deep freeze this weekend, early next week. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 240 west and eastbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Expect delays. 26 westbound slowing between Fanning Bridge Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slow between Long Shoals Road and Airport Road. 40 westbound Haywood County crawling between NC 209 and US 276. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound. Near Long Shoals Road is slow. Again, Bavard Road north and southbound between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Near the NC Arboretum, heavy delays. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Tyson Furniture. At Tyson Furniture, we have a huge selection of furniture, honest values, and great service. We are a big store, and Black Mountain has wonderful restaurants and interesting shops to explore. Visit us at Tyson Furniture in Black Mountain, where beautiful homes begin.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, "After walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air, I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
At Ingles Weather, we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
I believe real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
Hello, everybody. This is good old JR Jim Ross, WWE Hall of Famer. Boy, these boys are smart. You talk about goofier than a pet coon. Let me tell you something. This show is a legitimate slobber knocker.
Yeah, we are in the middle of our bracket reveal Parched Madness this year. We're trying to narrow it down, decide once and for all, as only the Sportsocracy can. The Democratic Republic of Sports chooses the greatest professional wrestler of all time. Over the coming weeks, we'll be giving you all of these matchups. You can vote on them, and we will be advancing them, much like the big basketball tournament that's happening right now. We are in the midst of revealing the Jim Ross bracket, aptly named all of these regions after the greatest broadcasters in wrestling history.
The 4 greatest broadcasters in the history of wrestling. It's not debatable.
Mm-hmm. We are down to the 5 seed in the JR bracket. The 5 seed is none other than Rowdy Roddy Piper. Dude was an unbelievable heel. Never was the WWE champion. He was the Intercontinental champion a few times. He held some belts in other promotions as well, but never got the title. And I feel like that's the biggest hole in his career, but one of the best heels of the early 80s. Now,
with one of the best heels of now.
He will take on
Seth freaking Rollins.
Yep. The 12 seed Seth Rollins.
That one will be fun. That's one I'm actually looking forward to because it will really tell me, all right, demographically, what are we dealing with here? Are we getting the old school fan or the newer school? Athletically, not close.
Seth Rollins.
Not close.
All the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Seth Rollins all the way athletically. When it comes to the other stuff, I'm not a big fan of Seth Rollins' mic work, although he has had some really good burns in the past.
Oh, yeah.
He's had some really good promos, but
this was one you seeded.
Too much of a whiner to me.
This is one you seeded, and I immediately went, yeah, that'll work.
The 6-11 matchup in this bracket, Eddie Guerrero.
He about had a Scott Steiner moment.
I did.
I saw it coming. They always add up to 17.
They do. They do. Eddie Guerrero taking on the 11 seed, the Iron Sheik.
This should not be even kind of close. This should be Eddie Guerrero in an absolute walk.
100 times out of 100. I mean, when it comes to Twitter personas,
the Iron Sheik is phenomenal.
Right. God rest his soul, Eddie's not around to show us what his what his prowess would be on social media, but Iron Sheik's a hell of a follow. He was, again, one of the best in the business in the 1980s. Great heel. Eddie Guerrero was just phenomenal. Another one of these born out of the cruiserweight division in WCW after being, a champion at ECW level, comes up to WCW, then makes the jump to WWE, and, scariest frog splash of all time. There wasn't a place in the ring or outside of the ring he could not reach you from the turnbuckle. Eddie was awesome. Iron Sheik, good, but more traditional on-the-ground wrestler. Number 7 seed, 7-10 matchup, goes, the bad guy.
Say hello to the bad guy.
Scott Hall, the WWE's answer to Scarface.
Oh, Razor Ramon was the greatest. That was
cultural
the
appropriation
greatest.
Of all time? Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And the fact that he kept it when he went to WCW was just a great big middle finger to the WWE. They created the persona, and he took it to WCW. Scott Hall going up against AJ Styles.
And that should be an absolute dog walk.
Mm-hmm.
I like AJ Styles, don't get me wrong, but you're going up against the bad guy.
Yes. And then the 8-9 matchup, Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson, going up against Owen Hart.
Might be the best matchup of the entire tournament.
This one's very close. I'm not a huge fan of the current era of wrestlers, which dates back about 10 years. Daniel Bryan was one of the best of them.
Oh, no
in
doubt.
my opinion.
Oh, he's very...
He was great. He was just, to me, but he's like the Andrew Luck of the wrestling world. Like, injuries just stood in his way. But still, multi-time champion and pretty good. Sad that he's going to be calling it quits now, but it is what it is.
Oh, he is calling it quits?
Yeah, he had a match last week that was just too much, and like at the end of the match, he was in the middle of the ring crying, and he said, "Look, I just realized when I didn't think it was that bad, but then when I realized I couldn't feel my hands, it might be time because I'll never be able to, if I keep going, I may never be able to play with my kids again." So, Bryan Danielson going up against Owen Hart, who obviously sadly lost his life at the open of a pay-per-view. I'll never forget where I was when that went dark. Watching the pay-per-view, it was sad news. I loved Owen. He wasn't ever as good as his brother, and he never could get over like his brother did.
See, I think technically he was better than his brother. That's why I've always pushed his brother down, and I've pushed Owen Hart
I
up.
felt like they're pretty close, but Brett was the star. And Owen was always the little brother.
I always thought Owen should have been the star. So that one will be interesting for me.
Yes. All right, let's move on to the next bracket. It's the Tony Schiavone bracket. Number 1 seed, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's the greatest on-the-fly marketing in the history of wrestling. The Austin 316 thing, not planned.
No.
It came off the dome piece and then immediately became the biggest brand in professional wrestling.
Correct.
For many, 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 many years. Still one of the most recognizable wrestlers of all time. He will face off against the winner of the 16-seed play-in match, Barry Windham, against Wahoo McDaniel. These are two old schoolers.
These were two guys that were said
one.
a lot on our Facebook page.
Yeah, the Widowmaker Barry Windham and Wahoo McDaniel, another one of those Wahoo McDaniel with the old ear slap. It was a big fan favorite back in the regional days of professional wrestling. I can't wait to see how that one goes down.
Today's my birthday.
Yes.
What is the numeric of the date?
316.
There you go. I'm getting this entire thing.
Austin 316. That's very fitting for you.
Yeah, somebody sends that to me every single year on my birthday. Pictures of Stone Cold just crashing domestic lights going, there seems to be a grand irony in that.
The number 2 seed in the Tony Schiavone bracket is Sting.
Sting, Stone Cold Steve Austin would be that might break my brain because that's my 2 favorite wrestlers of all time.
And I feel like
I'm angry at you that somehow you convinced me to get them in the same bracket together.
And I feel like you could break up Sting into two guys and have 2 entries into this tournament. You could have
Surfer
blonde,
Sting.
blonde flat top Sting from Venice Beach, and then you have the Crow Sting. Great career, spanned decades in professional wrestling. Sting was an all-time great, and he'll have to face off against the 15-seed play-in.
Which might be the most hated matchup of the entire bracket for Tank because it's 2 big guys that didn't really do anything particularly all that well. Batista and Sid Vicious.
I was a huge fan of Psycho Sid.
Oh, and then when he broke his leg with the most inathletic move in the history of creation, that's when you went, no more big guys!
And I was a huge fan of Batista's Marvel movies. So you got that going for you. Batista's the face of the Ruthless Aggression era. I mean, him and John Cena. And that was no doubt the worst era of the WWE.
Yeah, I can genuinely say I don't think I've ever actually seen the man do anything that wasn't a movie. Because you got to remember, I haven't watched this in 15 years. So a lot of mine is what I see on Twitter and what I remember. And the random watching of WrestleMania, because for some reason I will still watch that, even though I don't know who most of these guys are, and I don't care.
Sid Vicious, he was another one of those all-time great heel. Stand-ups were phenomenal. His ring work was okay, but he was another power guy. Number 3 seed, Bret Hart.
Yeah, you fought really hard for Bret Hart.
I did.
Like obnoxiously hard for Bret. Anytime his name came up, he's not high enough. I can't put him any higher. I physically, you have beaten me down until I can't put him any higher.
Bret Hart, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, very technical. He may not have had a whole lot of personality, and he might have been very, very Canadian.
He had the personality of a wet dish rag, and that is why, for me, he shouldn't have been in the top. I'd have had him as a 7.
Ugh, that's gross.
Yeah, I would have had him as... I was also a Shawn Michaels guy, so it's a shock. I couldn't stand Bret Hart.
And Shawn Michaels ranked ahead of him as a 2 seed. But Bret Hart, the 3 seed, will take on either, the British Bulldog, who beat him for the Intercontinental title one time back in Wembley Stadium in 1992.
And was his brother-in-law.
Or Flying Brian Loose Cannon Pillman.
If Brian Pillman doesn't win this, I'm going to be very angry.
He should.
He no doubt should.
He should win this, I think, just as the fan favorite. Because what does everybody love? Controversy. And who brought controversy like Brian Pillman? Not many.
No one ever. The guy that almost eradicated pro wrestling because he brought a gun and didn't tell anybody. And USA lost their minds. Because they got inundated with calls of, did you just air a crazy guy breaking into somebody's house?
Yep.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we sure did. Vince McMahon, one of the few things Vince McMahon's actually ever apologized for. Number 4 seed is Dusty Rhodes.
The American Dream. So one of the greatest promos ever. Which is saying a lot because he had a lisp. Still one of the greatest speakers ever.
I loved him as a broadcaster as well, doing the color commentary for WCW for all those things. He just clobbering. That was one of his favorite things that he always used to say.
I love Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, he was great, and of course he was the face fan favorite to the Four Horsemen and Ric Flair back in the heyday of his title runs. So you have Dusty Rhodes facing off against either Jerry the King Lawler or Cody Rhodes, his son.
That's not his son.
It's not Dusty Rhodes' son?
That's Dusty Rhodes. Oh, I thought you were saying it was Jerry Lawler's son.
No.
No. Yeah, it could be Dusty Rhodes against his son, Cody Rhodes. Weird.
It could be.
Weird how we did that.
It very well could be. Jerry the King Lawler, obviously mostly just known for his announcing of the modern era. He wasn't ever a thing in the WWE level. I mean, he was the king of Mid-South wrestling.
Yes.
Forever.
Yeah, you and I fought about Jerry Lawler a lot. I had to fight to get him in, and I tried desperately to fight to get him out of a play-in, and you just weren't having it.
I felt like it was more likely that we name a bracket after him than anything.
We had there's a fourth bracket that we're going to have to unveil in the third hour.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, there's another commentator that is drastically better than Jerry Lawler.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. We'll close out the Tony Schiavone bracket when we come back.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slows between the French Broad River and Airport Road. In Haywood County, 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. In North Asheville, Merriman Avenue northbound near Edgewood Road, traffic is slowing. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Hendersonville Road northbound slowing approaching Long Shoals Road. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound near Long Shoals Road is slow. Near the NC Arboretum, Bavard Road north and southbound stop and go between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm Lee Binfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Bank of America. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A. Copyright 2023.
Did you hear about Taco Bell's apology? Yeah, they apologized for going too far with their breakfast. Like the naked egg taco and chicken biscuit nachos? It was too much. All you need in the morning is tasty, simple food. Like the breakfast crunch wrap. Fluffy eggs, melty cheese, sausage, crispy hash browns, wrapped in a warm tortilla. Or, as some call it, a breakfast crunch thing. Grab one today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only until 11 a.m. while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation, which vary.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
Staples Print and Marketing Services help small business print big. Now get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Offer ends 4/15. Visit staples.com/printbig for details. This is your sign to try Staples, where prints are perfect, guaranteed.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and it is ESPN Asheville, the greatest of all time professional wrestler. Yep, we're going to decide as the Democratic Republic of Sports who is the greatest of all time with the Parched Madness tournament. We're going through the Tony Schiavone bracket here. And the number 5 seed, Chris Jericho. He's a champion at every level he's ever been at. Again, Another one of these that came up from the cruiserweights, became a heavyweight champion, and he's done it for a long, long time.
He's another one. I actually met him, and he is drastically smaller than you would think.
He will take on the 12th seed, Rick Rude.
Ravishing Rick Rude, which was one of my automatic entries into the tournament, and I could see that one being closer than you think.
Rick Rude was a big fan favorite, but Chris Jericho, people love to hate Chris Jericho.
Yes.
The number 6 seed, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
If this one's close, I will disown a slew of you.
Against the 11 seed, Big Show.
Yeah, if Paul Wyatt stays even vaguely close in this, I reserve the right to not speak to a slew of you.
Yep. He was great at being big, and that's about the only thing that he had going for him as a wrestler.
That's the only big guy that you throw shade at that I go, okay, I get it.
Ricky the Dragon Steamboat he was a phenomenal athlete, had those great matches with Ric Flair back in the day. Those Iron Man matches were phenomenal. The 7-10 matchup is Kevin Nash, one of the most athletic big guys of all time, going up against 10 seed Kane.
One of the most athletic big guys of all time.
He was okay.
Stop it. For as big as that dude is, he was freakishly athletic.
He was.
Also had one of the greatest storylines ever.
Until he didn't. Until the writers ruined it at the end.
Yes.
Kane's actually one of the reasons, or he was a part of one of the reasons I stopped watching this. It was when he was feuding with Triple H, and he had his way with the dead body.
Yeah.
I went, nope, I'm out. Your writing is horrible now.
That was awful.
Yeah. So it goes Kevin Nash against Kane. And then the 8-9 matchup, Jeff Hardy against Jake the Snake Roberts, which is just a contest to see how many drugs they can do.
I knew you were going to say that. I did not do that on purpose.
100% you did.
Maybe I did subconsciously. I didn't do it of two of the bigger drinkers in the history of, and 100%. Actually the only two of the three that I've ever seen actively intoxicated in the ring.
Jake the Snake was the journeyman. You loved him. You loved the snake, or you hated it. I know a lot of people. He was one of my favorites. A lot of people didn't like Damien and Jake the Snake Roberts. But Jeff Hardy, after being a successful tag team with his brother Matt, then he launched a pretty stout singles career and was a high flyer and did things that you've never seen before.
We have one bracket left. It's named after the greatest announcer in the history of professional wrestling. Don't ruin it. But we have to take a little break, come back with the daily draft. We'll talk a little actual sportsing because, we are the Sportsocracy.
That's what we do.
And then we will reveal the last bracket after the bottom of the next hour.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
It was good to see the 60s back today. A little break from the cold here for tonight. 46 degrees our low, and that's actually above average. Rain showers Friday, 60 degrees, and another cold shot comes to Asheville this weekend. Highs in the 40s. Sorry to say, lows back down in the low 20s Saturday night, Sunday night. So 3 nights again, deep freeze this weekend, early next week. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slows between the French Broad River and Airport Road. In Haywood County, 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. In North Asheville, Merriman Avenue northbound near Edgewood Road, traffic is slowing. Sweeten Creek Road north and southbound approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Hendersonville Road northbound slowing approaching Long Shoals Road. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road north and southbound near Long Shoals Road is slow. Near the NC Arboretum, Bavard Road north and southbound stop and go between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. For your guaranteed biggest refund and 50% off tax prep, switch to Jackson Hewitt. 50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm Doug Brown. First round of the NCAA tournament today. The 13-seed Furman Paladins beat Virginia 68-67 on a game-winning three from J.P. Pegues with 2 seconds left. This is Furman's first trip to the tournament since 1980. Some buzzer beaters drop, and some don't. West Virginia has it. 3 seconds now. 2. Johnson, 3 for the win. Oh, he missed it. It grazed the side of the iron, and Maryland escapes onto the second round. Brandon Gaudin on Westwood One, the NCAA radio network, as Maryland survives a last-second shot to beat West Virginia 67-65. Top-seeded Kansas beats Howard 96-68. Still no Bill Self, out again, recovering from a heart procedure last week. Mets closer Edwin Diaz will likely miss the entire 2023 season with a torn patellar tendon in his right knee. He got hurt during a post-game celebration last night at the World Baseball Classic after he finished off a win for Puerto Rico over the Dominican Republic.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It is a Thursday, but this is our Friday.
Yes, it is my birthday, which I will spend 18 hours of in this building. Okay. Minus my lovely wife is coming to take me to dinner because she's just wonderful and special like that.
Nice. A very happy birthday to Flostradamus Jeremy Greene. And, it's a long working day today as he will be running the game tonight here on ESPN Asheville and simulcast on our sister station, News Radio 570 WWNC. The UNC Asheville Bulldogs taking on UCLA tonight in Sacramento in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Tip-off set for 10:05. And pregame will start at 9:30.
So when you tweet me funny things, I have to say them on the air. Our buddy Chris Womack, the sports director at WLOS. So when I made fun of you for your Scott Steiner moment of you couldn't figure the seeds out, I said they always add up to 17. I've used that my entire life because I would do exactly what you just did. They're playing 12, 5-12.
Yeah.
413, on and on and on.
Yeah.
So he sent me a text and said, they always add up to 17. You just gave me a tool for life.
I hadn't realized that.
We are here for you.
Indeed.
And that made me laugh a lot.
Indeed. We'll give you the last reveal of the reveal of the last bracket in the Parched Madness Greatest Wrestler of All Time tournament that we will be starting over the weekend. The first matchups will be going out on social media for you to vote on. Make sure that you follow us at the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. And don't forget, also, if you're not doing it already, go watch us on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. And you, too, can have all of your takes seen by us, and we'll highlight the best comments here in the Sportsocracy. 92.9 FM, 880 AM at 1400. This is ESPN Asheville, and we are live in the Ingles Studio. Top of the third hour of the program. And we got to do a daily draft. We're going to take a break from the wrestling talk for a little bit. We did daily draft yesterday with the automatic qualifiers for the greatest wrestler bracket.
And we try, when we do things like this, to not give the same listening audience, because in radio, you're not in your car usually for 3 hours a day. So it's the 5 o'clock audience got wrestling yesterday, so we'll try to take that away today and talk about actual sports things.
Right. NFL free agency and offseason moves. That's what we're doing today. Best moves of the offseason so far. Now, Who's got the first pick?
I will give it to you.
Oh, he's going to give it to me. Okay. I feel like
even though I fully believe I smoked you like a honey ham yesterday.
No, you didn't. You drafted way too many guys that were solidly in the tournament.
Well, here's the thing. The College of Charleston, they were an automatic bid. They were solidly in the tournament. Just want to make sure you get the automatic bid, maybe it bumps your seat up a little bit.
Maybe a little bit. And currently right now, speaking of Charleston, they are trailing by 7 to San Diego State with still half of the second half to go.
Come on, Pat Kelsey. I'm one of only 750,000 with a perfect bracket through 4 games. 19.3 million have already gone down.
That's crazy. It's hard to get all the games right. Best free agency offseason moves in the NFL. And you may consider this cheating, but the number one has to be Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets.
No doubt. If you didn't do it, I was going to do it.
There is no other path to me than this winding up. Aaron Rodgers is going to be with the New York Jets. The New York Jets become a contender, yes, in their division, a playoff contender in the AFC as a whole, and maybe outside shot to threaten for a championship game appearance and maybe a Super Bowl appearance as well.
It is the greatest move in the history of the franchise of my beloved New York Jets. Jets. And I have to say, calm down on what happens if the trade doesn't get done. It's going to. It might take a minute. It might take a few weeks. I don't think it will, but it might.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what I've been told is I was exactly right. The two teams had the parameters of a trade in place. When Aaron met with the Jets brass, Woody Johnson, Robert Saleh, Nathaniel Hackett, and then at the 11th hour, they decided to get greedy.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Douglas is not going to be extorted because he is the best GM in the NFL. And that is #NoHomer. That is unbiased. He has given me one of the few bits of happiness that I've ever had. So just leave me alone.
It's monumental, obviously. That and the Jets, with this move, will win the offseason.
I can't disagree with you. I'm not going to say I'm cheating because I don't think I am. I'm going to give the kudos to the deal that none of you seem to care about. It's Orlando Brown to the Cincinnati Bengals. That was the best, but that was my number one player that was likely to move. Because when I do free agent rankings, sorry, I didn't put Lamar Jackson in there because I didn't see him moving. I think you hit an absolute home run, and you didn't spend a crazy amount. When I saw them, was I the only one when I saw those numbers? I was dumbfounded at how little money he actually got.
Yes.
4 years, 64 I think it was like 14 among tackles.
It's peanuts.
It's not peanuts. It's still high-level tackle money, but by comparison.
I was going to say, compared to what Mike McGlinchey got, compared to what
McGlinchey's the one that
got.
blows my mind. Jawan Taylor, I at least understand the fit, and apparently they're planning on playing him at left tackle. Not 100% sure I love that idea, but Andy Reid knows more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see Mike McGlinchey get more money than Orlando Brown, I mean, I understand he hasn't been he's not the anchor franchise left tackle that Kansas City thought he would be when they traded a first-round pick to get him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still pretty good. He's graded pretty well. And then you add in him with the other pieces, whether they keep Lyle Collins or whether they move Jonah Williams over to the right side. I don't really care. It's a sum of all parts. And now I'm looking at that line going, that line is not going to be the problem, and the line is the reason you haven't been in the Super Bowl 2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You were a year ago, you weren't last year, and it was predominantly because you could not stop Kansas City from getting Joe Burrow. When it mattered most, you could not keep him clean. And I think you fixed that problem. And you did it with the only player on the market that I think could have fixed that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one of the reasons that I had his value so high.
It's a home run for me.
It is for me, too. Now, from here, this is where it gets a little more difficult because there's a bunch I like, but a lot of them are not. It's not the high-end guy. So I'm going to try to take the the spirit of this draft, and I'll hold a couple of the lower tier free agent signings for a little later.
Mm-hmm.
It's Jesse Bates.
Ooh, okay. To the Atlanta
Jesse
Falcons.
Bates with the Atlanta Falcons, because that is now the centerpiece of your defense. But he wasn't as good in Cincinnati last year. I understand that he was still a top 10 safety in the league. He's the best player on that defense by 10 miles. Did you happen to see the story that came out a few hours ago about Jesse Bates? A reporter in Atlanta called up to him and asked what he was going to do now that he had signed the big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's the first splurge purchase you're going to make? So he's a foundation. He's giving $1 million to single mothers.
Oh, nice.
That should tell you about everything you need to know about Jesse Bates, and I've heard that for a really long time.
So it's the page out of the Warwick Dunn playbook.
Basically.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the tweet now, and it just appeared on my timeline, and of course my computer refreshed because technology when it starts to irk me, it just decides to completely irk me. There it is, from Kelly Price. Just caught up with Jesse Bates, asked him kind of jokingly what the first thing he'll buy with his new contract money is. He said his JB3 Single Mothers Initiative will be donating $1 million to single mothers and organizations in Atlanta.
That's great.
And I'm sure a lot of people are going to go, that's self-serving, charitable, whatever. That kind of sets a tone of I came in as now the centerpiece of this defense because it's him and A.J. Terrell.
Mm-hmm.
And he is setting a tone of we're going to be big in this community. I am ingratiating myself into Atlanta. I'm an Atlanta guy. And I didn't think they ever paid for him. I think he will be phenomenal for them. And among the high-priced free agent additions, he is my second favorite.
All right, my next pick for best moves of the offseason, San Francisco 49ers made the biggest splash as soon as the legal tampering period opened up on Monday. Immediately announced that they were signing to a 4-year deal Javon Hargrave. You put Javon Hargrave in the middle of that defensive line, him and Eric Armstead together is insane. And then you think, oh, wait, they also have Nick Bosa and Drake Jackson and Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. I mean, that front seven is incredible. And Javon Hargrave, I mean, it's hard to imagine the San Francisco defense getting that much better, but I think they've done it.
Well,
at least on paper.
This would harken back to the days with DeForest Buckner. And I know they're not the same player, but in terms of pass rush and the ability from the interior to take some pressure off of the Bosas and whoever winds up being the other situational pass rushers that are on that line, because that's what San Francisco does. They just replenish defensive linemen. I also, and I might be getting three-dimensional chess here, and I might be going down a rabbit hole. You got to get something out of Javon Kinlaw, because that's been – I'll be nice here and say it's been bad, because what I really want to say is it's been an epic, unbelievable disaster. And I feel like if anybody can do that, it's Javon Hargrave. Because now there's so many places that you have to turn attention to that Kinlaw is going to get a lot of favorable matchups. And I almost feel like that was one of those 2-for-1 additions of I get the most out of a player I already had. I add another player. And so basically I signed two at once because Javon Kinlaw had been borderline unplayable. And I'm not so sure that that's going to continue that way.
Mm-hmm.
At the very least in a Solomon Thomas type way.
I've seen some pullback on this deal. He's already 30 years old. You gave him big-time money for 4 years.
It's an all-in move.
4 years, $84 million.
It's an all-in move, and I didn't love the money, and that's the reason I didn't have it in the first two.
Mm-hmm.
There's another move that somebody has already commented in the comments of why I hadn't said that, and it falls back on the money. And I have to take into account the team that signed them.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco was not flush with cap space. I do not know what you had to do to get this under the cap. That was why I liked Atlanta, and that's why I like Cincinnati. Those were two of the teams with the 5 most cap space in the league. I didn't have to do any calisthenics to get this deal under the cap. I signed a guy. It had no other repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
That boosts it up for me. But I do understand why you said Javon Hargrave.
Yeah. I mean, because this is an all-in move for the 49ers.
I mean, because I can't with a clear conscience, I can't say the same thing I said about Orlando Brown, of he was the only player on the market that could legitimately have fixed your problem. And not say the same thing about San Francisco, because that's the only defensive tackle, I think, on the market that they would have looked at and gone, yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's do that. That's an addition that makes the defense more formidable. Just had to give my rationale there.
All right, you may or may not agree with this next pick, but I feel like it was worth the risk to take. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll make my next selection here in today's Daily Draft, the best move so far of the NFL offseason. You're in ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic stop and go 240 eastbound between exit 2 and exit 4A. 240 westbound slow between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. Future 26 westbound stop and go between Broadway Street to approaching New Stock Road. 26 westbound is stop and go between Fanning Bridge Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound delays between Hendersonville Road and Brevard Road. Haywood County 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. Sweeten Creek Road southbound stop and go between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. North Asheville, Merriman Avenue northbound near Edgewood Road is slow. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. I'm Lyndon Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Reset your rest at Mattress Firm's Big Spring Sale. Shop top brands today and save up to $700. Plus, get a free adjustable base with select purchases. Time to score big savings on your dream bed.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Josh, quote, "After walking around my whole life being a mouth breather, I was excited to try Navage. I read the directions carefully, pressed the button, and oh my gosh, what a sensation. So much mucus, so much crud, but oh sweet, merciful air, I can finally breathe you through my nose. Never have I ever taken such an amazing breath in my life. This is a life changer," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other grocery store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA Choice and Prime meat? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
One thing that you're going to have to remember, one most important factor, is to protect your quarterback, me.
It is the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, the best moves of the NFL offseason so far. The subject of today's daily draft. I opened it up with, of course, Aaron Rodgers to the Jets.
That feels good to hear. That's a nice birthday present. Thank you, Joe Douglas.
My second selection, Javon Hargrave, being signed by the San Francisco 49ers. Jeremy's two selections so far, Orlando Brown to the Cincinnati Bengals. Got him for a pretty good price as well. And Jesse Bates going to Atlanta. Now, my third selection, it's the Baltimore Ravens and the non-exclusive franchise tag for Lamar Jackson. I don't know how. I can't tell you how this is going to go.
Oh, I can.
But the closer or the more time that passes on this, and I get teams were only able to start talking to Lamar yesterday. We haven't heard much about the Lamar thing. Are other teams interested? Is anybody going to give him the big deal close to the guaranteed kind of money that he wants? The Baltimore Ravens, I think, have played this perfectly.
There's a lot of noise out of Indianapolis, just so we're just to be clear. I think that is all smoke.
Fourth pick in the draft. Could be surrendered if the Colts come up with a deal here,
and that would be why I think it's all smoke.
And I would agree. But putting the non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar Jackson, you saved money by doing that. If nobody gives him the big sweetheart offer that he wants, you're not going to have to. You hold all of the power here. Let somebody else negotiate the deal, and then you can come in and say, "Yeah, we'll match that. Come on back." I feel like I questioned it at first, but the more I think about it, I think this is going to go well for the Baltimore Ravens because by the end of it, you're going to end up being, well, I should just come back and play on the $32.5 million or whatever the non-exclusive tag was this year, and then we can work on a long-term deal from there.
I didn't take this guy with my first two picks because I don't love the money. And I really don't love the money with the team that signed him.
Okay.
Because if the salary cap means anything, which I'm starting to wonder if it does or not, void years, all the different ways you can massage it, I get it. If it means anything, there is a pure, unabashed hell coming for the team I'm getting ready to discuss, and it's the New Orleans Saints. With my third selection, one, Mr. Derek Carr. I love that you signed him because I do think he's a very good quarterback. You paid him beyond very good quarterback money. You didn't have much money, and that's a move. All right, and I'll just pair this with one that you've already chosen.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Jets did it because that team, they believe they're a quarterback away, and I don't tend to disagree with them. That's a top 3 in the NFL defense. You have a ton of young offensive talent. I could see Aaron Rodgers being the piece that makes you a Super Bowl contender. I don't see Derek Carr making the Saints a Super Bowl contender. What I do see him doing is making the most of an aging team, and he was the only solution. Because your alternative was exactly what's happening with the Raiders with Jimmy Garoppolo. Do you feel like the Raiders are even a conscious threat to the playoffs?
No.
And that's exactly what we would have said about the Saints if they signed Jimmy Garoppolo. And everything from there down is just different shades of the same clown makeup. So I feel like New Orleans did exactly what they had to do. I just don't love the money. And that's why I fall on that side of he's my third pick as opposed to one of the early ones.
Okay.
I told you I had some off the beaten path guys, and we haven't mentioned this, and it makes me so unbelievably angry that this happened in my own division. It's David Long going to the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
How many off-ball linebackers in the NFL do you think are David Long good? Because if you use PFF or any analytical metric, it's less than 8. And they got him for $5 million a year. Now, how he's going to fit in that defense, I do not know. I'm not real sure. But that has been a huge problem for the Miami Dolphins. And you fixed it basically for a song.
Mm-hmm.
You fixed it with a guy that I already know how good he is for virtually a hair over rookie first-round pick money. And it's, to me, one of the home run signings of this period. That's
okay.
I loved it. And I've wanted a reason to mention that for 3 days now.
Right.
And it gave me a reason to. And I have to acknowledge this because it was said in the YouTube chat. It was cousin Colin Greene, who we love here. He was addressing us to me. We had the same record as y'all last year with no quarterback and a worse defense. I want you to compare the divisions that the two of those teams play in and the schedules they played against. The Jets might have made the playoffs against an NFC South schedule with Zach Wilson playing quarterback.
It's true.
So there's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference there. Plus, the Jets are not absolutely hemorrhaged for the next 5 years against the cap. New Orleans has dead cap money, almost a presidential term from now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what scares me about New Orleans is I don't know what your end game is because I don't know how you get out of this. I've never seen a team go this deep. So maybe you have some magician that's going to find a way out of it. If you don't, you may be calling me to play 2 years from now because you can't sign anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Best offseason moves so far of this NFL offseason? Well, my number 4 selection, it's going to be the Carolina Panthers-Chicago Bears trade. I got to give flowers on both sides of this because I understand why you did it. I understand why you overpaid if you're Carolina, and I understand why you gave up the number 1 pick if you're Chicago because you got more than you should have for that pick.
Yes. Chicago got in line with what that pick has been worth in the past in a year where I don't necessarily think there's a no-doubt franchise quarterback.
Nailing down DJ Moore, adding him to that team. I mean, while we have our qualms about Justin Fields and what he's going to be able to do as an NFL quarterback, you're giving him the best weapons that you can.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, now he's got DJ Moore. You got the deep threat with Darnell Mooney. I mean, you're doing what you have to with a limited quarterback to give him opportunity.
Chase Claypool might be the best number 3 receiver in the NFL. You still have Cole Kmet, who I think is a top 12 tight end in the league. Khalil Herbert is going to be a dog for this team when he gets bell cow. I mean, look, Chicago's done a lot of things right, which is going to make it all the sweeter for me 1 year from now when I can go, hey, you remember when I told you needed a quarterback? Do you believe me now?
Mm-hmm. And that's where, and the Carolina Panthers, they're going to get a quarterback.
And the reason I can agree with you on this trade is because Carolina needed a quarterback.
Yes.
Chicago now has the ammo of you have completely protected yourself. If this Justin Fields thing goes the way I think it's going to, you can go get one a year from now.
Mm-hmm.
You have all the ammo in the world. You have everything you could ever need.
Yep.
And it won't cost you anything.
And
you know why you had that pick? Because Houston won a meaningless game in Week 18 of last year. Good for Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I can say nothing ill of them.
I agree. And the Carolina Panthers, you're going to go get your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I hope to God it's C.J. Stroud. Anthony Richardson will make me think differently of this deal, but you made the move to go get your quarterback, and that's exactly what you had to do. Well, you didn't have to. You could have stayed in mediocrity for forever, not knowing who the quarterback's going to be moving forward, but now you solved that problem. And the last move, this is tough for me because I'm close on 2 deals, but I think I'm going to go with the dumb one. I'm going to go with the dumb one. It's Darren Waller. Darren Waller to the New York Giants. Did he have a great year last year? No. Is he oft injured? Yes. But he's also a target monster.
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Jones loves to throw to tight ends. I mean, when Evan Ingram was in town, he was the most used tight end in the NFL with Daniel Jones. And I think Brian Daboll with Daniel Jones will be able to make Darren Waller an all-pro level player again.
I can't disagree with that. That was one of the 2 I was looking at taking. I'm curious, what was your other one?
It was Jalen Ramsey. to the Dolphins.
That wouldn't have been in my top 20.
Really?
No.
You don't think it matters?
It's not that I don't think it matters. I think you're guaranteeing every cent of that deal for 2 years was – everybody talked about why was the compensation so low, because you didn't read the third line of that AP article, which was they guaranteed every dime of the next 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's the guy he was 2 years ago, okay, that's fine. If he's the guy he was last year, that is an albatross of a deal. The only reason that that I didn't just hammer it is because you did get a deal in David Long and you some running backs. They've done well over the course of the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
That was an all-in move, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it will come off the ledger when you have to make a decision on Tua. So that's the reason I didn't hammer it. If Tua had been pressing up against that and you gave that much money to a corner that I don't know what he is at this point, I'd have hammered you for it.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like we didn't give this enough flowers, and so I'll choose it with my last pick. The Philadelphia Eagles' ability to keep corners.
Yes.
James Bradbury and Darius Slay. I was dumbfounded that they got Bradbury back. I feel like he took a discount to come back to Philly. And then I was railing on, why would you give up Darius Slay for nothing? That's stupid. I understand you're up against it with the cap. You don't allow players like that to get out of the building for nothing. And almost from my mouth to Howie Roseman's ears, after saying, well, we're going to release Darius Slay, they went, yeah, well, we never filed that paperwork and changed our minds. Come on back, D-Slay.
Best moves of the offseason so far. That's your daily draft here in the Sportsocracy. When we come back from the break, it's going to be that time where we'll reveal the fourth bracket in our greatest of all-time professional wrestlers Parch Madness tournament. It's the, well, we won't tell you just yet.
Yeah, it's not time.
Who the bracket's named after, one of the greatest broadcasters of all time.
Don't do bunny
Coming
fingers.
up next, here
you do
in the
bunny fingers.
Sportsocracy.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
It was good to see the 60s back today. A little break from the cold here for tonight. 46 degrees our low, and that's actually above average. Rain showers Friday, 60 degrees, and another cold shot comes to Asheville this weekend. Highs in the 40s. Sorry to say, lows back down in the low 20s Saturday night, Sunday night. So 3 nights again, deep freeze this weekend, early next week. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic time ago, 240 eastbound between exit 2 and exit 4A. 240 westbound slow between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. Future 26 westbound stop and go between 240 and Broadway Street. Future 26 eastbound stop and go between Riverside Drive and 240. 26 westbound slow approaching Fanning Bridge Road to the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slow between the French Broad River and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound delays between Sweeten Creek Road and Hendersonville Road. 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. North Asheville, Merriman Avenue, north and southbound near Edgewood Road, heavy delays. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road, north and southbound, approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. Hendersonville Road southbound slow between Biltmore Forest and Overlook Road. I'm Lyman Field with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The double steak grilled cheese burrito is now at Taco Bell. 2 servings of grilled marinated steak and a melty 3-cheese layer inside, plus grilled bubbly cheese on the outside. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
I realize the complexities of the human body and its ability to heal itself.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. John Herzog talking about regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics.
It's a very well thought out process, and they use it in all the professional teams around the world.
Regenerative medicine uses healing agents from your own body, like your blood or bone marrow, highly concentrated and delivered right to the achy joint.
By putting it in the spot where it can't normally get to, you can facilitate healing.
At QC Kinetics, they are the nation's leader in this exciting field of medicine. Lasting pain relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery.
People are very happy to have an opportunity to get better without going through the entirety of a medical procedure.
The old ways of dealing with with joint pain are no longer the only ways. Learn more about regenerative options that could help you get your life back. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other grocery store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
Oh, the Parched Madness bracket is back again, and this year's subject, the greatest of all time professional wrestlers. We have 80 wrestlers in the bracket this year.
16 playing games.
That's right.
64 seeds will ultimately make the tournament. And speaking of tournaments, if you want to know why college basketball's dead, that last call in College of Charleston, that's why.
Yeah.
Because people like me have seen enough of that and gone, yeah, I'm good. I'll pass. I'm not going to invest 2 hours of my life in a game that will be decided by an official that may or may not have an IQ somewhere between salad dressing and a ham sandwich.
Complete
clean block.
Hogwash.
Clean block. Didn't touch even a millimeter of skin.
Mm-mm.
Foul on a three, and you're beat.
Yep.
Thanks, college basketball. We tried to tell you years ago to fix that, and here you are.
Yeah, 3-point game with 18 seconds left. San Diego State leads College of Charleston 60-57. And San Diego State is getting the ball back here at the end of the game. Anyhow, let's get into the final bracket of the greatest of all time professional wrestlers Parched Madness tournament. Named after, go ahead.
The greatest broadcaster in the history of professional wrestling. One, Mr. Patrick Nathaniel McAfee III, Esquire, at your service.
It's his birthday, so I gave it to him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you know, now that you mentioned that, you didn't fight nearly as hard as I thought you would.
I didn't. I'm going to let you have it because I know how much you love Pat.
I do love Pat.
Pat gets his own bracket named after him. This was supposed to be the Mean Gene Okerlund bracket.
But he was never a commentator. He was
he was the announcer. He was the guy that did all the interviews. He had one of the most unbelievable voices of all time.
I don't disagree with any of that. And he is almost as good as Pat McAfee. And if there were 5 brackets, he would have got one. But there's not, and he didn't.
So the Pat McAfee bracket here starts out with the number 1 seed, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, I mean, he's the guy. He's the guy that everybody goes to. Oh, professional wrestling? Yeah, Hulk Hogan. I know that guy.
And I always thought he was the most overrated wrestler in the history of time.
He was the guy, though. The business started and stopped with Hulk Hogan for a long, long time. Not only did he carry one organization, but then he led the rebirth of the WCW.
And oddly enough, he almost killed one and then did kill the other. So it would be remiss if we didn't point that out too.
Now this is the bad part for Hulk Hogan because
this is the most
up,
evil bracket in the history of time.
Well, I mean, he may not get out of the first round because the 16 seeds playing into this contest, Bruiser Brody and the Sandman.
So we got a little something for no matter what your flavor is, we got one for you.
Well, I mean, if you like crazy dudes who can rip your head off, this is
which
the game
if you listen
for you.
if you listen to the show, you obviously do.
Yeah.
You've shown a predilection to somebody that's very much in the same vein.
Bruiser Brody, whose time came to an end much sooner than it should have. That is a phenomenal story. And if you haven't seen the Dark Side of the Ring episode on Bruiser Brody, I highly recommend it.
Oh, it's great.
It is a great watch. And then Sandman, obviously, I mean, what can you say? He is one of the greatest of all time from ECW, and nobody wielded a weapon quite like the Sandman with his kendo stick. The number 2 seed is The Undertaker,
who I thought should have been the 1, but I was overruled.
Yes.
So
You got
you
to
get
name the bracket. I get to choose the number 1 seed.
I also was able to put him in as the number 1, 2 seed, which I feel like I have laid enough landmines here that Hulk Hogan is going to hit one of them.
He was never getting out of this bracket, to me.
No.
Just because, frankly, as an in-ring wrestler, he wasn't that good.
No, and his finisher was a leg drop. Calm down.
Yeah.
Okay?
The Undertaker, extremely iconic, obviously, and he will probably easily dispatch of either of the contenders coming in the 15-seed play-in game, which is Tully Blanchard and Kerry Von Erich.
I don't have a lot of analysis to give you on that one.
I know there are people who will be upset that Kerry was a 15-seed play-in guy, but, I mean, he never hit the big time in the major, in WWE. I mean, obviously, the car crash late in his career, I mean, that killed it. I mean, you got to give him credit for wrestling for several years with one leg. He had a prosthesis that he hid for many years from the fans, and only some of the wrestlers didn't know, because he even showered with his boots on to hide it. But he was phenomenal. He was going to be the next guy to take wrestling to the next level, and it just never panned out. Tully Blanchard, obviously member of the Four Horsemen, he was good in his own right. Many regional championships to his credit, and all.
He was mentioned in the Facebook comments a lot.
Yes, he was another fan favorite, being a member of the Four Horsemen. The number 3 seed is Triple H, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Triple H was, as all wrestlers, he didn't really get his break till many, many years later. I mean, who forgets the Hunter Hearst Helmsley coming out with the what was that, like a foxing jacket that he wore? He was like supposed to be British royalty or something.
Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah.
And then he found a Generation X and went, hey, let's do this.
Yep. Triple H is the 3 seed, and he'll have to face off against the play-in matchup of 14 seeds, Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Jushin Thunder Liger. I really struggled trying to get the international guys some love on this.
Well, I mean, we just knew with the way that the voting's going to go, we tried to keep as many that were going to be obvious annihilations from happening as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm. Superfly Snuka, one of the innovators of the high-flying game in professional wrestling. Jushin Thunder Liger, I mean, he was more popular in Japan than he ever was in America, but a great wrestler to his own credit. The number 4 seed in the Pat McAfee bracket is Kurt Angle.
It's true. It's true. I loved Kurt Angle.
I did too. He was one of my favorites. He was one of those that I did this for real. You know, the real wrestling that you base your fake business on? Yeah, I was an Olympic champion in that. And then I came to the WWE, and I became a multi-time champion in that. And went on to, a successful career in other organizations after that. Kurt Angle is the 4 seed. Will have to take on either the Great Muta or the Ultimo Dragon. So you got...
Tank fought really hard for the Ultimo Dragon.
The Ultimo Dragon he was so good. And he was... there was one time where he held 8 different titles at once.
I haven't seen you fight that hard for anything other than the last piece of pizza in all the years we've been doing this.
He did have the J Crown back in 1996 that had 8 unified titles from around the world, and added the WCW Cruiserweight belt to that haul that he had. Loved the Great Muta too when he was made his appearances in WCW, but his main career was overseas in Japan. The number 5 seed in the Pat McAfee bracket is Brock Lesnar, another college champion of the actual wrestling sport. And he will be taking on Ted DiBiase, the 5-12 matchup.
The $1 Million Man, the greatest laugh of all time.
Again, to most of us, we're not old enough to remember all of his in-ring work because it was done mostly at the regional level. When it hit the national stage, he was more of just the gimmick guy.
My entire personality has been some weird combination of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Ravishing Rick Rude, the Sandman, and Scott Hall. And when you think about it, when you get there, you'll never unsee it.
Number 6 seed, hailing from, originally Canada, but also hailing from Biltmore Village.
He's the only wrestler on this list that either of us actively know, I think.
Indeed. Edge, one of the greatest. I'm still upset that he didn't carry on the Sexton Hardcastle name. I always thought that was the best name that he ever had in ring.
If I ever fake my own death, that will be the name I am going under. That'll be my way of signaling you, like the ending of Shawshank Redemption. If you ever see a Sexton Hardcastle, you'll know that Jeremy's just fine.
But the Rated R Superstar comes in as the 6th seed, and he will be taking on the 11 seed Sabu. This is super hard for me because Sabu was one of my all-time favorites. I didn't personally know Sabu, but he did almost break my leg at a house show one time. So that was fun.
This is my favorite bracket that we did, which it was not. I didn't do it on purpose that this is the one that we gave to Pat, but it did work out nicely that way.
It did. That's a tough matchup, a tough draw for Edge. Sabu was just absolutely phenomenal. A high flyer, took every risk on the planet. Randy Orton is the 7 seed, and the 10 seed is Booker T.
If we're going solely by entrance themes, Randy Orton has probably the greatest one ever written. But I do like Booker T a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I always have. And I'm friends with his brother, which makes it. When I said that, I went through the entire bracket. And I went,
I do know Stevie Ray.
Kind of. But I don't know Booker T at all, but I do know his brother.
No, but you talked to him on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have, actually.
Booker T, best years to me was as a part of the tag team Harlem Heat.
No doubt.
With his brother.
And then he had a great second act as an individual. He was one of the only ones in WCW that didn't just get squashed when they went to the WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Wound up with a 5-time. Love Booker T.
Yes. Booker T. So that was
the 7-10.
That was the 7-10 matchup. So the 8-9 matchup, CM Punk against your favorite wrestler, Rob Van Dam.
I did love RVD.
I was an ECW guy. And after Sandman and Sabu and Tommy Dreamer and all of that kind of it was all concurrent at the same time, but there was a time where they kind of took the focus off of that, and RVD became the big push. And RVD was the best thing since sliced bread to me. He was a high flyer. He had all the martial arts moves. He was great. Loved to do crimes.
RVD?
He sells legal crimes now.
He does.
Big proponent of the CBD and cannabis market, and that got him in trouble. He could have had it all, and then he tested positive for marijuana a day after he won the WWE title, and they stripped him of it. And he never got to push again. And I think that's one of the biggest crimes of that WWE ever perpetrated, was not giving him another push.
Well, we always say here, don't do crimes, but not so sure that we call that a crime. But I get that we do.
So there it is. There are your brackets. We got 80 wrestlers in the running for greatest of all time, and we will start putting out matchups over the weekend. Correct?
Correct. Yeah, we'll be putting out TikToks and Instagram reels and YouTube shorts, and man, it's a lot of things to remember.
So start the debates now of who were the big snubs, who didn't get into the bracket that you thought should absolutely be in. I know the honky tonk man got mentioned a couple of times, and
you mean the great big Elvis impersonator? Yeah, I'll pass.
Yeah, not going down that path. Some of the legendary names didn't make it, Luthez and Vern Gagne, and just guys that we don't really we don't really know. We weren't around for that era, and they never had a crossover into the national years when we were coming up. Superstar Billy Graham, Buddy Rogers, Gorgeous George, all of these guys. It's just, again, I use the quarterback debate. When we're talking about greatest quarterbacks of all time, I'm not bringing up Otto Graham. Sorry. It's just a different game than it was back in the day. So, also Samoa Joe. I know there were some big fans of Samoa Joe that wanted him in, and it is an oversight on our part.
He was probably the first one out. If I had to be really honest, he was probably the first one out.
Absolutely, he would make the NIT if there was one.
Oof. The NIT of this bracket. Samoa Joe against Disco Inferno.
Ugh. Although I do see one qualm. Name's on the door, right? And I have automatic qualifiers from yesterday. We didn't get one of my automatic qualifiers in.
Which one?
Taz didn't make the bracket. That was an oversight on our part. I'm good with it, though. He can fight it out with Samoa Joe for the NIT title.
With the Road Dogg, Jesse James. I just want to do that for the last 5 minutes of the show. Random wrestlers that were bad.
The
Al Snow.
Gobbledygooker. Doink the Clown.
That's a good one. Oh, Henry O. Godwin.
Val Venus.
Mabel.
Oh, that was good for you.
Oh, I could do this for a minute because I grew up in the golden age of. Wait, you did what? You have 2 pig farmers? 2 of them? Really?
You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Follow the social medias at the Sportsocracy on all of them. We will have brackets coming out over the weekend. Start the voting on the play-in games. We've got 16 of them, 4 per bracket. All of the top 4 seeds will play play-in contestants.
And we have to kind of slow roll this because the goal is to have the Final 4 happen at the same time as the Final 4. Okay? So if we start falling behind and you're like, well, the Sweet 16's already happened, it's intentional because it takes a lot longer to do voting for 32 games than it does to play 32 games.
Andreas Pinckney, Maven, that's a good one. Hadn't thought about him in a long while.
Kevin the PRF, Glacier.
Yeah.
Who was just Lance Storm with a much cooler entrance.
I bought it. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Back to close it out for the week right after this.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slowing 240 eastbound between exit 2 and exit 4A. 240 westbound delays between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. Future 26 east and westbound delays between 240 and Broadway Street. 26 westbound slowing between Fanning Bridge Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound slowing between Brevard Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Light delays 40 westbound between Hendersonville Road and Brevard Road. Haywood County 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. In North Asheville, Merriman Avenue northbound approaching Edgewood Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road southbound stop and go between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. Hendersonville Road southbound slow between Mills Gap Road and Long Shoals Road. Near Avery Creek, Brevard Road north and southbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Again, Brevard Road northbound slow between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway near the NC Arboretum. I'm Lee Benfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's always has more ways for you to save. On top of their everyday low prices, pros can save big when buying in bulk. It always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. While supplies last, minimum purchase required. Selection varies by location. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities.
I thought learning a language would be too much work, but Babbel makes learning fun. J'aime Babbel.
Babbel's lessons only take 10 or 15 minutes, and soon you turn and realize, hey, I'm starting to speak another language. How'd that happen?
Babbel isn't robots talking. You learn words and phrases from real native speakers. I was ready for real-life conversations in just a few weeks. So easy.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
You don't ride an elevator for the music, and you don't pick an airline for the movies. So when it comes to audio entertainment, it makes sense to choose Audible. It's the home for stories told by the biggest stars, like John Hamm, Kerry Washington, and Kevin Hart. It's home to epic adventures, chilling mysteries, and can't-miss comedies. Audible is the home of storytelling. Let your imagination soar with audiobooks, podcasts, and originals. Start a free trial at audible.com.
Did you hear about Taco Bell's apology? Yeah, they apologized for going too far with their breakfast. Like the naked egg taco and chicken biscuit nachos? It was too much. All you need in the morning is tasty, simple food. Like the breakfast crunch wrap. Fluffy eggs, melty cheese, sausage, crispy hash browns, wrapped in a warm tortilla. Or, as some call it, a breakfast crunch thing. Grab one today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only until 11 a.m. while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation, which vary.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other grocery store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
And again, to close out the program here on ESPN Asheville, a very happy birthday to our own Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene.
Thank you to so many of you that have reached out between Facebook, Twitter, all the things to wish me a happy birthday. It is very kind of you. And if you would like to come celebrate with us, we will be at the Village Porch all day tomorrow. We'll be there at tip-off at 12 o'clock, 51 North Merriman Avenue. Now you have me doing it.
Sorry.
And we will be there all day.
Indeed. Come join us at the Village Porch tomorrow for all the basketball, and tune in tonight. ESPN Asheville and News Radio 570 WWNC, the special simulcast of the UNC Asheville Bulldogs, a 15 seed, taking on the number 2 seed out west in the UCLA Bruins.
UNCA wins. Just remember I said that.
9:30 tonight is the pregame. 10:05 is the tip. Brian Hall and Mike Gore will be on the call, and Jeremy Greene will be running the show here in the studio. We will be back with you on Monday on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
It was good to see the 60s back today. A little break from the cold here for tonight. 46 degrees our low, and that's actually above average. Rain showers Friday, 60 degrees, and another cold shot comes to Asheville this weekend. Highs in the 40s. Sorry to say, lows back down in the low 20s Saturday night, Sunday night. So 3 nights again, deep freeze this weekend, early next week. I'm meteorologist Scott Lauriamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing 240 west and eastbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. Future 26 westbound slowing between 240 and Broadway Street. 26 westbound slowing between Hendersonville Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 eastbound light delays near the French Broad River. 40 westbound near George's Branch Road. Traffic is slowing. Haywood County 40 westbound crawling between NC 209 and US 276. Hendersonville Road southbound stop and go between Mills Gap Road and Long Shoals Road. Hendersonville Road southbound near Atkins Street. An accident does have a lane closed. Sweeten Creek Road southbound slow between the Blue Ridge Parkway and Mills Gap Road. Near the NC Arboretum, Boulevard Road north and southbound very busy between Clayton Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road north and southbound near Long Shoals Road is slow. Merriman Avenue northbound near Edgewood Road delays. I'm Lemon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report